Welcome back everyone to Angela's Craft Room. Today I've got a male themed card using Lovely as a Tree stamp set. One of my very favourite stamp sets, and I think it's turned out really well for a male card. I have used, as you see when we go along, I have done an embossed layer that you can only see the edges, but I just felt that it needed that texture look around the edges, and I've also added a black piece under the shimmery white, and I think it just really lifted it when I did that, because it's just got that lovely fine black frame around it. So we'll get started because there's a bit of sponging and masking. So I'm going to start straight off with the sponging with the shimmery white piece of paper. Now I've masked a moon there using the Eclipse masking tape, those that haven't seen it before. It comes in a roll and I get mine off eBay, so it's Eclipse masking tape. So I'm sure you'd be able to find it wherever you are in the world on eBay. And then I've put that moon there, and I just like to use this little piece of non-stick craft mat. It helps my sponging tool. I start sponging off and I come on. Okay, so we're going to be sponging first in Sahara sand. And I am using, as I said, I am using shimmery white. I just find that with the shimmery white, it's got that glitter through it, and when I'm doing this technique, it just seems to help the blending tool glide on. And we're not heavily sponging today. So I just want to just turn it so I'm not going over the same spot, because I'm starting sponging onto the craft mat and then I'm bringing it onto the shimmery white. And you can see there that because I was going onto the same area, it has left a bit of a darker stain, but that won't matter because once the trees are stamped, that's going to all cover. So I'm just going up the sides mainly now, and I'll start going across the top. I find this blending tool is better for me rather than the Stampin' Up sponge cutting quarters, because I just feel I've got more control. Now I'm reaching the moon. Just do this corner. So it's not taking very long at all to sponge. Now I'm going on to the moon just so that I'm going a little bit off the moon. I want to leave a little bit of white here. So you want to go over the moon and around it so that when we remove that mask, it's got that lovely white crisp moon there for us. Now I'm just going to see if I can just sponge that out a little bit. as I said, it won't matter really, because once we start stamping the trees. Now in the first card I stamped the trees in Sahara Sand and Always Artichoke, which is a green colour. This time, just to see how it looks, I'm going to still stamp in Sahara Sand, because we've sponged in Sahara Sand, so I'm going to stamp in Sahara Sand, and then I'm going to use Early Espresso, which is a lovely chocolate colour, just to see the difference, how that goes. So I only want a little bit more on this side. So this is the top layer of your card. So that's looking pretty much how I want it. So you can see how I've sponged that. I've left a bit of the white there. Now I'm just going to peel this moon off. Might just get the tweezers. And we've got a beautiful clear moon. And that's a good thing about the Eclipse masking tape. It's a lot easier to use than trying to use the sticky notes. It used to drive me crazy. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to stamp our sentiment on the card, because then we can see where we want, then we can see where the trees can go then. Okay, so let's move that over a bit. Just make sure it's going to allow me to close it. So I've just got a happy birthday from the Guy Greetings stamp set. So I'm going to stamp that in Early Espresso. And I've just got my test piece to make sure that that is going to stamp. So it's not too bad. It is a little bit crooked. Tell ya, this drives me mad, because sometimes it just oh, look at that, perfect. So we'll just stamp that up again, grab a cotton bud, and I'll most probably drive you crazy testing the leaves before I stamp them, because I really want them to be straight, perfectly straight. So that's the happy birthday on there. And I've just got my chamois that I'm just going to wipe off that stamp to clean later. So to start with, I'm going to grab the Sahara Sand and we're going to stamp the tree in Sahara sand first. So because I want it to be right on the edge there, I'm going to bring it up to the top part of my MISTI. And I'm going to place it pretty much as far up as I can. Then I've got Sahara sand, and I was really nervous because it was really dry and I needed to stamp it up, and I do clean it off each time with this process because I really didn't want it to be really inky. Now I'm going to have to bring that back down to, I'll put it on the 6 mark just so it stays still. Then what I'm going to do is just bring one up to just under there, making sure it's straight, and just ink up the top of the tree and bring it down. Then the next one, just over a little bit, going up into the moon. And it's really a personal thing, but I don't worry if it gets a bit on the sentiment, because I think it adds to the character of the card, and I quite like it. And that's quite good because that's just like right on the moon. Then I've just got to move my magnet round to there. And every one you do will be different. Everyone, if you did a few of these cards, they're all going to be different. You're never going to get the trees exactly in the same spot as you did the original card. Okay, so now we're going to change over to the Early Espresso. Now I want one coming right up into, I'll just wipe that little bit of ink off my MISTI. So you can see that this is most probably the most time consuming, but it's just deciding where you want the stamp to go. So I quite like that in Early Espresso. Just wipe that off. And then I'm going to pop one right on the edge, so it's really only going to get the edge of the tree. But I think I'll be making a few of these cards because I really like how they've turned out. And you could even do, by just changing the sentiment, you could make this a Christmas card, and you could just use a bit of glue or flick a bit of Tombow liquid glue around the top and add some dazzling diamonds if you have it, or just some glitter, just some plain glitter. So I just want one in there. So it's just a matter of placing where you want the trees to be, and it gives the image that there's trees in the background. Now I want this one to be higher, and I'm really not worried. Once again, I'm not really worried if it goes into the sentiment. But I can see that it's not going to, but it wouldn't have worried me if it did. And then we just want one, which I need to move this, so I need to just clean off that a little bit. I forgot to pop my chamois underneath the tap before coming and doing the video, which was very silly. So quite liking how that early espresso looks. But I like the always artichoke as well. But just remember, you need a lighter colour in the background, and then you need a darker colour for the front. So I just need to ink that back up in the early espresso and stamp our last tree, so you can see the effect it does give. I didn't get too much ink on my hands. So I just think that's really gorgeous. I really love it. So to finish off the card, okay, so I'll just set that aside to dry. Now we've got a piece of crumb cake, and it's just the normal 11 inches long, 4 1/8 of an inch wide, and scored at 5 1/2. And then I've gone ahead and put a piece of Whisper White inside, which measures 5 1/4 inches by 3 7/8. And I stamped one of the other stamps from the set, Lovely as a Tree, that one there, which I use quite a lot as well at Christmas time. And then we'll just bring that down because we're going to glue. Then I embossed a piece of Sahara Sand with the Woodlands embossing folder, which is, this piece measures 5 3/8 of an inch by 4 inches. And I just noticed I wrote the measurements there, but it won't matter because we're going to be gluing over that, so it won't matter. So we're just going to glue that piece down, and you'll see that it just about covers the base card. Making sure that I've got that card opening at the right way, just popping that down there. So you can see there's not going to be much of a border around. But that's how I want it. Then we're going to put a piece of basic black right over the top like that, and this measures 5 inches by 3 5/8 of an inch. And this, you won't see much of this either, but I just felt the top layer of shimmery white, it just needed that fine border around it, and it just really lifted it. This is quite a heavily layered card. So that's pretty straight. And then we've just got our piece that we sponged and stamped to go on top, and I just love it. I just really love it. If you wanted to take it to the next level, you could stamp this whole image in Versamark ink and then apply clear embossing powder and then heat it to set, and it would just give you that most beautiful gloss finish. Quite impressed that I didn't ink up my fingers too badly today. So I'm just moving it so that black border that I want all the way round is as even as possible. And that's our card done for today. So that's the one we've used Sahara sand with the trees in the background, and then we've used early espresso for these, and our beautiful moon there. It doesn't look gorgeous? And then this one, I sponged the one today a lot more than I had sponged this one. So every one is going to be different. But with this one, I've done the Sahara sand, exactly the same, stamped the trees first, and then I've done this one in Always Artichoke. So that's Always Artichoke, and that's Early Espresso. So yeah, when I show a close-up, it is different, but I tend to like both of them. I do love this style of card. So I hope you enjoy that video, and I hope that you'll give those techniques a try. And thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. And until next time, happy crafting.